Now this aircraft is getting a bit heavy going. I thought I'd got it done, and that's what this little film will be, me saying it's done. But then I looked back, and this is probably the worst example of things looking appalling close up. Particularly the gaps that have opened up over time, because that spar down the centre is horrible. So that's not too bad, but over here it's looking a bit rugged, and there. I'm just not that keen on, oops, got that wrong, excuse me, on here. Look at that, not lovely. And this popped open a little while ago. It wasn't a problem. Can't quite see it, the background's not with us, is it? There. That's horrible. Now it looks like these at the back here on the tail are a bit ropey, but they pretty much line up. There's a little dip which I kind of went for, but I think they're just creating a lot. See, looks okay now. They're creating an awful lot of shade. Oh, the cat's here. So I'll leave the tail, but these wings are just atrocious. And I can't leave it at that. It's a Hurricane. It's gorgeous. Got to do something. So what I'm going to do is leave it for a while. I'm going to stuff some glue and possibly some filler in and put clamps on it for a very long time. So don't expect to see this for 10 days or something. And then hopefully we'll get something out of it. That's not going to heal. Might have to get a knife onto that. So put this to one side. I'll let you watch me being triumphant and look out for those gaps. They are horrible. Now I think we're there. Everything's on. All the markings are on. And all the surfaces are covered in paint. So what more could you want, eh? There's a sense of dissatisfaction. It's really strange. The canopy is almost radiant, the paint on it. And it's exactly the same paint that is on the model all around. So why does it seem so vibrant? Never mind. I've got that spare bit of canopy. I'm going to experiment with ways of finishing that. I might even do a little program all of its own. But anyway, there it is. So it's just coming in on the I'm a good model department. It did have its problems, but then they all do. The big problem is the spar that runs from one wing through the fuselage to the other. And of course the canopy pinging off. I looked at other people's versions of this model online, and let's say it's a mixed bag, but in particular there's one fella, I can't remember who he is and I don't want to be, you know, personal, but there's one fella who says that spar is a bit of a mess and that he had to cut it down seriously, which is good to know it's not just me. But then he said the rest of it was absolutely brilliant and perfect. And then he says, thank you to such and such a company for supplying this for me to review. So it's hard to knock a product when you've got it for free, isn't it? Which I haven't, obviously. And therefore I can say, look, even with glue galore and stuff, that's popped open. So that is rough. And then oh, I haven't done the spaghetti. Oh, I'm not doing that. That's just horrible. It looks like a disease.
I have trawled the internet and I have seen things like it, but without the spaghetti. Not on models, but on the real thing. So we'll have a spaghetti-free one, I think. That was off-putting. I do actually the raw aluminium is quite nice. That was a pleasant effect. So I've rambled. I've gone off track now, haven't I? But yeah, it is a good model. Let's be fair. It's good, but not brilliant. And you just want more from Airfix, don't you? I've also been unintentionally stumbling upon videos by people, particularly a shopkeeper. Is it Man's Model Minutes? Something like that. Where a number of people are pointing out that, yet again, Airfix seems to have overdone it, and they are, in business terms, stagnating. And people are putting it down to too much inventory. They've got too much stuff sitting in the warehouse, not shifting it. And that they're being silly, and they're trying to drive people to buy straight from them rather than go through shops. That seems to be a lot of people's opinion. And so they're struggling, and so their output has become a lot of models that are already, in existence, but with different sets of markings and things like that, different colour schemes, rather than completely new and inventive stuff. I wonder how that's going to pan out. Airfix does have its problems, doesn't it? And it shouldn't. It really should not. Of all model manufacturers in the universe, this should be the one that's stable. A lot of people compare and contrast them to Tamiya, who just plod on, and that is what Airfix should have done. Even sticking to keeping the box art from millions of years ago. Of course, there's my none too brilliant talents at making these models. Never mind, we have to consider that as well. So I will freely admit that this is not a perfect bit of work by me. As for things like the weathering, I will compliment myself. I've got it where I want it. But dusty, and the effects of sand on a fast-moving item, particularly landing and taking off. It must have got absolutely appalling mess. So I'm alright with that. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. So yeah, not everybody's cup of tea, but well, good job that we're not all conformists, isn't it? We wouldn't want that now. It's interesting how in every walk of life there are people who have a regimented view of how things should be and want you to do the same. Is that because they're uncertain about their own points of view? And of course with that comes regimentation, which is, this is how you do it, and there is no other way. I love a bit of experimentation, me. You never know. Perhaps one day people will realise the world's round. It's interesting how the flat earth theory has taken away that concept that once everybody thought the world was flat, ha ha ha, now we know it's round. Very, very interesting situation. Is the world round or flat? Who knows? Anyway, back to the little aircraft. It's not for beginners. I think we can say that. And it's not my greatest moment in modelling history. But all round, if you like a good hurricane, and you want a bit of variety from the brown and green, then you can have brown and brown with a nice zappy motif. Yeah, it's alright. It's alright. Of course, I noticed that only recently I did a 1/72nd hurricane. So I'm obviously having a hurricane moment. And why not? A beautiful, beautiful aircraft. Alright, let's have some fun with this, shall we? Zooming across the desert battlefield. Obviously this isn't a diorama. There's nothing official and proper about it. I just thought we'd have a look. There we are. Just worth mentioning, obviously we've all seen this one, haven't we? He big-headedly said. And that's one of those vinyl-y ones left over. These aren't the official Airfix figures, and that is one that I did as a kid when the Alamein set came out. The figures on the other hand, actually, let's just have a look. Look, they're slightly bigger than the Airfix ones. Exactly the same figures, but just slightly bigger. I've probably had these since about 1978. I do not know why, because I didn't like them. I don't know why I kept them. I don't know how I kept them that long. But anyway, there they are. Manning the battlefield. So, as ever, thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking with this one. And putting up with the cockpit canopy, I suppose. Onwards and upwards. I wonder what's next. We will see, won't we? But I think this one can go on the shelf for the time being. And I shall experiment with the cockpit canopy spare one. And perhaps a couple of other spare ones. Because I'm not happy with the kind of weathering level and that kind of thing. It doesn't match the rest of the aircraft. But anyway, thanks for watching. See you again soon.